Hello, everybody. Welcome to FTS Buckeyes. Owen Smith and Matthew Warner here. We are breaking down the quarterback situation that is going on at Ohio State. Clearly, Kyle McCord exited Ohio State last week, looking like he's probably going to land at Nebraska,
Yep.
which means that the Buckeyes would have an opportunity to play him in the shoe next year, which would be exciting. I'm sure it'd be much anticipated for a lot of people
Yeah.
on that one, whether you are happy to see McCord back or if you are happy to see him back for other reasons,
Yeah.
and hope the defense has their a good day there. But either way, as it stands today, going into the Cotton Bowl, it is a looking like the options are Keen Holes, Devin Brown, and Tristan Gebbia. Clearly, from a bowl game perspective, looking like it's going to be mostly Devin Brown. I think
Yeah.
Ryan Day is supposed to talk to the media this week, but definitely leaning towards a Devin Brown start. But I think a lot of Buckeye fans, ourselves included, are looking at Lincoln Keen holes.
Yeah.
Um, but with McCord exiting, there was a lot of people wondering if they're going to go to the portal or not. And there has not been any real movement as we sit here a week really into the portal as
Yeah.
we're recording this. Matt, what you wrote a long blog about the quarterback situation. Some of it is dated because Dylan Gabriel did, which seemed to be one of your top picks. He did decide to go to Oregon, so that's clearly off the table.
Yep.
But of course, you broke it down on ftsgambling.com. We'll link that in the description below. But Matt, where do you think the Buckeyes are kind of looking in this quarterback situation here on December 11th?
Yeah. It was like as soon as McCord announced is when everybody was like, it's got to be a portal person. Like they've got to have their eyes on somebody in the portal. And I think maybe what the reality is that Day had a conversation with McCord where he essentially said, "Hey, you know, good season, and I appreciate everything, but we are going to have to figure some things out for next year to avoid a similar result as what we had this year, which probably alluded to either a QB competition or bringing a portal guy in. And for McCord, it just made sense to take his talents elsewhere. So I don't think where I stand right now is I think we go into next season with the room that we have right now. And I don't think that that's going to be the Buckeye faithful's favorite answer right now. They wanted the shiny object of a Riley Leonard or a Gabriel or Cam Ward, but I think the Buckeyes went out and got Devin Brown and Keen Holes and Aaron Nolan because they believe that they are the future of the Ohio State program. And I think going out and getting you know, uh, a guy in the portal sends an odd message to those folks that, hey, we are not going to work to develop you. We're going to go find a way to win in the immediate future and put you in the back seat. So my thought is that they're going to just move forward with the current room. It's a talented room. You've got Keenholes who just dominated high school football in South Dakota. I don't know what that means, and I don't think anybody knows what that means. So he's kind of this wild card. And then you have Devin Brown, who was a highly sought after recruit, and I think super capable. Um, the question is if Devin Brown's the guy, why wasn't he the guy this year? I think we're all asking that question after watching McCord play all year. But my thought right now is that the room stays. I don't see us going out and getting a portal guy. I am curious to see maybe what happens with the Texas QB room once the playoffs are all decided. You
Yeah.
figure out what Quinn Ewers ends up doing. If some of those guys, like if an Arch Manning or um, Murphy hits the portal, like maybe you take a look at one of those guys. But it sounds like Arch is happy in Texas, at Texas.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Malik Murphy is the guy that like moves the needle a ton for the Buckeyes. So right now, I think it stays where it's at. Like, how are you feeling? I know you've been heavy on the boards. FTS Owens on there, ripping off posts, just hawking everybody's everybody's thoughts, hanging out in the comment section. So where's Owen Smith at today with the QB room?
I think I'm happy with keeping it as is for now. I don't think that I think everyone's super high on Cam Ward, and like, listen, I think that his highlight tape is amazing. And I'm sure like he can add a different element to the quarterback position. I just don't think that and I think my stance stands true with how a lot of the insiders have kind of reacted to it, where it's like there's not an interest in Cam Ward. It seems like maybe there's an interest from Cam Ward to join the Ohio State
Yeah.
Buckeyes
Yeah.
as a quarterback who has thoughts of going to the NFL. Probably a smart decision there, but it doesn't seem like there's really any sort of smoke. And this has been since the beginning from inside the
Right.
Woody Hayes that there's interest in Cam Ward. So you X him out. I don't even consider him a factor at this point. Same thing with Dante Moore. They could have had him last year. There was reports that he would have jumped on a plane and went to Columbus instead. They decided not to. He didn't look that great at UCLA. Of course, he was a true freshman and in a different system, but not super interested in that because that interrupts the room. Will Howard, some of these other names that kind of get thrown out there don't move the needle in my opinion. I think that the names that kind of keep being thrown around that would intrigue would be like Michael Pratt from Tulane, but he's not in the portal yet. You talked about the Texas, if Arch Manning were to land in the portal, that's always intriguing. But I just don't see Dylan Gabriel's gone, and it seems like Riley Leonard is going to play for Notre Dame. If Riley Leonard had an ounce of interest in playing for Ohio State, he would be playing for Ohio State because it seems like there's interest from Ohio State's side.
Yeah.
And if his goal is to go to the NFL and he had an interest in playing for Ohio State, I think it's a no brainer there. Of course, there's some bias there, but who has Notre Dame put in the league recently? So I know that maybe there's different promises being made, but it doesn't seem like Notre Dame has an NIL advantage or anything. So I think it's more of a sound like his great grandfather played there or something like that. So more of a legacy thing. So I'm all in and keeping it in house for now. I may feel different on December 29th, the evening of the December 29th, because if we don't see any flashes from Devin Brown or Lincoln Keenholz in that game, then it's like, okay, now we got to make something happen. I don't know what that is because the problem with the portal is that things move quick. And unless you do have some of those late entries like we've talked about, a lot of these guys will probably be snatched up. I mean, Gabriel's already snatched up and Leonard's probably snatched up after, we record this. So,
well, I mean, he has to get some final touches on that, that commitment video that he's been working on now for 3 weeks, according per sources.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I think everyone's like quick to get down on Devin Brown. And like, I understand like he didn't show a ton of like promise, and of course like not being able to win the job over McCord, and we lose McCord is that's definitely concerning. But I don't know, man, I've always kind of seen like Devin Brown as he brings a different energy to the team, which I think is needed.
I've had this weird like gravitational pull towards Devin Brown, and I can't put my finger quite on like what it is, but I've always liked him. And like you said, I think he brings a really good energy to the program that like, I'm not somebody that's going to sit and bash Kyle McCord, but I think the leadership aspect was lacking significantly this year. So I'm hoping that he's kind of a spark guy. I look at this game and it kind of, this game against Missouri, it kind of reminds me of Utah 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You have a bowl game, not a ton of people excited, but it was opportunity for folks to go out and showcase their skills. And that's where all of a sudden people were like, hey, this Marvin Harrison Jr. cat, like he might be really, really freaking good, or 3 years ago. So like I'm excited about this game because I think you're going to see similar things with, with some of these receivers that haven't got a ton of opportunities. Like Fleming's not going to be on the field. I don't know if Marvin Harrison's going to go. So you're going to see a lot of young guys, and I'm hoping we see that similar spark at QB. My dream scenario is Devin Brown goes out and plays really good, and Buckeye fans go into next year saying, hey, that's our guy. We like what we saw. We think he's capable. Like he has that it factor, and we feel good about it. Like
Yeah.
that's my dream scenario, and hope that kind of comes to fruition here in a couple weekends.
Yeah. Well, and my final thought on Devin Brown until the 29th is yes, he didn't beat McCord out for the job, but there's a couple of factors here. First off, it was neck and neck. So like let's all keep that in mind. Like going into August, it was neck and neck. And that is with Devin Brown missing the spring game. So he clearly was showing some, the spring game is pretty important for a quarterback battle, and he missed that. And so the fact that he missed one of the bigger parts of a battle, at least from kind of the external view, and still was in it, and they truly didn't make the decision until some would say they made the decision going into IU already, but
Yeah,
especially with how
it
things
didn't
turned
feel
out.
like they made the decision completely until Western Kentucky.
Yeah, which is, and that's kind of how the schedule lined up for Notre Dame and all of that. But to that point, it's like McCord, the reason that a lot of people are out on McCord and myself included is it's not that he didn't have some of the capabilities and, sometimes had the, highlights and everything, is that he didn't develop as Stroud and some of these other guys had developed in their first year. So who's to say that you put Devin Brown in that same exact scenario? Let's say he was picked as the go ahead for IU.
Yeah,
There's nothing better than in-game experience and developing through some of these cupcake games and like really getting through some of the growing pains. He hasn't had that opportunity. He came
right.
in a weird package. He came in these different moments in the game, like at the end of Purdue. Like there's some of that, and then he got hurt. So it's like I'm not putting too much weight in the fact that he didn't beat out McCord and making preconceived notion that he's just not the guy. Like he's still
Yeah,
a high recruit. I think that he brings an edge to this team that this team needs, especially in a rivalry game, especially after 3 years of losing and all of that. Like I think that the quarterback needs some of that edge there to go out and win the game and add a little fire to the team. So I'm not completely out. Again, we'll see how things are on the 29th and 30th, an analysis of that game. But
yeah,
I'm excited to see what Devin Brown can bring. And if not, you have two young guys at an easy schedule to start out the season to develop a keen holes. Like it's not
yeah.
unheard of for. I know he played a different level of high school football, but it's not unheard of for a sophomore or true, a redshirt freshman to go start for a Power Five team. So
No,
I think he'll be all right, especially going into the 12-team era. So, any other thoughts on the quarterback situation before we wrap this up?
no. Like you said something earlier, and I think it's funny. Like the the Cam Ward, the Dante Moore, like the Will Howard, like the highlight tapes, you see him going around. Like how would this guy would look perfect in Ohio State's offense. Like I saw Nebraska, like fan page post Kyle McCord highlights to
Yeah,
Julian Fleming, and I'm like, yeah, guys, anybody can cut up pieces and parts of games and make guys look really good. Like it's easy to sit and watch all of the great plays, but so just a word of caution to everybody that's looking
yeah,
at these portal guys and foaming at the mouth, thinking they would be the savior of the Ohio State football program. Like, um, I think be thankful that you've got a room that's got multiple capable guys of going out and playing high level football. I would prefer to just stay with the room. I think that's what we do, and it has me really excited for us to go play Missouri. And I would not have said that if Kyle McCord was still our quarterback. Nothing against Kyle McCord, but it does add a new level of excitement for this game.
no, for sure. I think it's that they have no option. It's not like a transfer can come in and play anyways. So even if they bring
Yeah.
someone in, you do see what you have in the room, and that could be good or bad. But excited for that. Definitely adds intrigue. As we get closer to that game, we'll do some more analysis here on FTS Buckeyes. You can keep up with us on everything. We run also a gambling podcast and do some gambling blogs for NFL and college football. So you can see all of that on ftsgambling.com. But yeah, we'll keep things rolling and looking forward to some Buckeye football here to end out December, and of course with National Signing Day and all of that coming up, definitely some more thoughts to share here on FTS Buckeyes. So once
Yeah.
again, it's been Owen Smith, Matthew Warner for FTS Buckeyes, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.